Thanks for tuning in to Cleave It to Us. I'm Gremi, and we're downtown at Public Square, where we have all of the statues, the monuments, and the tall buildings that are most recognizable to Cleveland. And I'm here talking with Scott, and here's Scott over here from Tours of Cleveland. Scott's the owner. He came up with this amazing concept to take people around Cleveland and highlight some of the most amazing things that we have to see, from the architecture to the buildings to the history. So Scott, it's good to see you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Tell me about your company. So you started 4.5 years ago, right?
Yes.
Why?
Because, well, first of all, I just love history. And when we travel, we love to do a walking tour. It's kind of the best way to explore and learn about the city.
Sure.
I mean, you can always read a plaque or something, but, you know, and that's fine for some folks. Not for me. I like to get out. I like to have someone explain things and learn about it. And when I was here, I was kind of in a little phase where I was switching careers and took a chance and started my own business. And just felt like this was a good opportunity. And Cleveland just has such an amazing history that there's a lot to talk about.
I agree.
My tours are 2 hours, but I could spend all day talking about it because there's so much information.
I agree. That's one of the reasons we do the show, is because Cleveland has more to offer than meets the eye.
Absolutely.
A lot of times. And you're not originally from here.
No. So I've lived here for about 5.5 years. I grew up in Virginia. Yeah.
Okay, so you're not a native Clevelander, but we'll give you the badge of honor nonetheless, because in talking to you before our segment, you know much more about the history of Cleveland than I do. And that's all right. This is why you do what you do. And I think that the business that you have and the company that you created and doing these walking tours and shining a light on the history and the culture that some people may not know, some people may have forgotten, it's an amazing and wonderful thing that we need more of. So tell me about some of these buildings. Right now, I know we're standing outside of a pretty historic building right now.
Sure.
I feel like I can just point out a building and you're already going to know a million things about it.
Sure. So this is the Society for Savings Bank building. This building opened in 1890. Now the bank's been around longer than that, but they move into this building in 1890. It's their brand new office building. It's done by John Root of Burnham and Root out of Chicago. And this building is considered to be Cleveland's first skyscraper. It comes in at a whopping 10 stories, but in 1890, that was pretty impressive.
Sure.
The thing that I find kind of ironic is that the building is physically attached to Key Tower today, which comes in at 57 stories and is the tallest building in the city of Cleveland and the state of Ohio today.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So I never noticed that they were attached before.
Yeah, actually all the way up, basically, they attached the building. It is a hidden gem for sure. There's a beautiful stained glass ceiling in the building. There are 4 really cool murals. They utilize this red and green marble from Vermont all throughout the lobby. These big, beautiful columns. It's spectacular.
I had no idea it was the first skyscraper in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Back when 10 stories scraped the sky.
Right, there you go.
Now we're outside of another pretty historic building in Cleveland. This is the Old Stone Church, right?
Yes.
What can you tell me about it?
Well, there's a lot to talk about here. So this is the oldest building on Public Square. It goes back to 1855.
Wow.
One of the unique things about the church is there are 4 stained glass windows that are done by Louis Comfort Tiffany in the church.
Okay.
2 of them down the side here on the alley and 2 of them down the street there. So there's a window inside the church dedicated to Vernon Stouffer, of Stouffer's Frozen Foods. Now the window at the bottom has a little vignette that mentions that dedication and has some scenes from around Cleveland. Terminal Tower's in it, the Cleveland Museum of Art, and Municipal Stadium. Now Municipal Stadium is in the window because Vernon Stouffer owned the Cleveland Indians for a while.
Okay.
But, of course, you remember, Municipal Stadium's a dual stadium. Cleveland Indians play baseball, Cleveland Browns play football. So that stained glass window is the only stained glass window in a church in the United States to feature a football stadium.
That's a cool fact.
Yes, and I always say you can't get any more Cleveland than that. Football and God rolled up into one.
Into one.
And you got most of the city right there.
In one of the oldest buildings in Cleveland. I love it.
One other thing I'll just mention is the steeple on top of that tower that you see.
Yes.
In 1884, there was a fire inside the church. It destroys the sanctuary, which they rebuild, and the steeple that was up there was damaged, and it wasn't safe to keep it up, so they take it down. Well, that's 1884. They don't replace the steeple until 1999.
No kidding.
Yeah, so for over 100 years, we've got our church here with a tower, but no steeple on top of it.
So when I was a kid, there wasn't a steeple on
Correct.
the church.
Yeah.
So across from us is Terminal Tower, and a lot of people who grew up here know and maybe shopped at Higbee's, which was at the base of the Terminal Tower. Now it's Jack's Casino. And, you know, who doesn't like a good casino? I go there for the buffet. I'm not a big gambler, but I go there for the buffet. Also, when it was Higbee's, there was a pretty well-known film, A Christmas Story.
Yes. So they did film a part of A Christmas Story there at Higbee's. So in 1983, that's when they filmed, the early part of the year. The producers had kind of sent out a call for department stores across the country. And from what I've heard, Higbee's was the only one to answer the call. We weren't necessarily chosen because we were the best. We're the only ones that bothered to reply.
We're the only ones that showed up.
Yeah, exactly. So hey, credit for that.
And I love that when they made the movie, they incorporated so many Clevelanders as extras.
Yeah.
I just randomly met someone who had a role in that movie a while back, and sure enough, when I found out that she was in it, I had to go and rewatch the movie and find that scene.
Right.
Like you really need an excuse to rewatch A Christmas Story.
Of course.
But it was a good reason to jump back in the thick of it. So the May Company buildings over my left shoulder here is also another pretty popular building in Cleveland. You know everything about all of these buildings. What are some fun facts about the May Company building?
Sure. So the May Company building, this building was built in 1915 by Daniel Burnham of Chicago. And one of the cool things was when it opened, it was 2 stories shorter than we see today.
Really?
1931, they add the additional floors on. Now, this is kind of a very simplified version of what happened, but basically, they take the roof off the building, they add the 2 floors on, and they put the roof back on.
Really?
And I say that because if you look at a picture from the building from 1915, it looks just like this, it's just 2 stories shorter. Yeah. Also in 1915, when that store opened, it was the 3rd largest department store in the nation when it opened. And also one of the most technologically advanced stores for the time. It had 23 elevators and 4 sets of wooden escalators. And a lot of people remember the wooden escalators at Higbee's, which they were there as well. But it was the May Company that was the first store in Cleveland.
They were the trendsetters for that.
There you go. Yeah.
So I like what you said about some of the revolutionary things that the May Company did, and it was right here in Cleveland. And we're sort of known for being revolutionary. One of the things I know about Cleveland is that among some of the revolutionary things that we had, like in the May Company, our public square, the public square that we're standing in right now, was the first public square in the United States to be lit using electricity.
Yes. So Charles Brush, a Clevelander, perfected the arc light, and when he tested his new invention out, he replaced the gas lights here on Public Square with his invention. And we were the first city in the U.S. to light our streets with electricity in 1879. London's the first city in the world. They did it a year before us, but we were the first city in the U.S.
But we saw that and we said, you know what? Cleveland's the place that needs to set this trend for the whole country.
There you go.
And that's what we did.
Absolutely.
It's not just buildings in Cleveland, too. We have statues, we have monuments, and behind us is the Soldiers and Sailors Monument.
So the monument was built in 1894, and it's here to honor the 9,000 Cuyahoga County residents that fought in the American Civil War. Just some couple of fun facts I think about it. It's done by Levi Schofield. So if you're down here and you know the Schofield building, Levi built that building as well.
Sure.
Actually had his architectural offices there. And do you ever see the movie Shawshank Redemption?
Who hasn't?
Yes. So of course, it's filmed down in Mansfield, Ohio, at the old Ohio Reformatory. Levi Schofield built that as well.
Sure did.
So another connection. If you look at the top, there is a woman up there. She is the goddess of freedom. Her shield says liberty there. She also happens to be Levi's wife, Elizabeth. She modeled for the statue for him, and there she is, 19 feet tall, reigning over Public Square.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a gift to
Yeah.
yourself. You really set the bar high
Yeah,
for Valentine's Day.
exactly,
Let me
exactly.
tell you.
Yeah.
So something we were talking about before is how Cleveland is a good stand-in for New York City for so many films, and since it's not as busy as New York and is, crammed with people, it's a great place to have these film sets. Avengers and Shawshank Redemption and A Christmas Story. I mean, if you're not looking at the Terminal Tower, Key Building, or the Soldiers and Sailors Monument, and you're just walking down one of the streets downtown, it's really indistinguishable. You do these walking tours year-round.
Yes, we do not stop, so we offer them all year, whether it's the summer or the winter. We're out here because people are traveling, people want to come out, they want to explore, so we want to show off the city. So yeah, we go year-round. Because a lot of people who come here, I think they don't have the highest expectations for Cleveland, you know? And then when they really get in and start to explore the city, they're blown away because there's so much stuff to do here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I know you do 4 tours.
Yes.
And right now is December, and you have a holiday tour?
Yes. So we're doing our downtown Cleveland Christmas walking tour. We really focus on the history of the department stores because a lot of our Christmas traditions come out of those stores.
Sure.
So that's through the month of December. And then our downtown highlights tour, which is our main tour, we offer that year round. And we also have our downtown public art tour, exploring all the art. We offer that in the summer. And then in October, we have our Tales of Terror tour. It's not a ghost story tour. It's actually 7 stories that involve the death of 312 Clevelanders.
These are no ghost stories.
Yes,
These are about real people that died.
Absolutely.
I want to take that tour next October. So when are you booking the Christmas walking tours up until?
So the tour really runs through kind of December 23rd.
Okay.
And we're doing them Thursdays through Sundays in the evenings. Everything's on our website, toursofcleveland.com. So you can learn about the tours, you can book the tour, pay for everything, and you're all set.
Oh, I can't wait. Yeah. So I'm going to jump on one of these tours.
Awesome.
And everyone watching needs to go to toursofcleveland.com. Check out these tours. If you want to learn a little bit about Cleveland, whether you're from here or visiting, it's definitely worth it because this guy knows more than most people that have lived here their entire lives. I know he knows a lot more than me, and he's a nice guy. I mean, look at him. He's knowledgeable, he's friendly, he knows about all of this. And so check out Tours of Cleveland. And remember, the
next time you want to know what to do, where to go, and what to see, check out the show and cleave it to us.